Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is KidLee, and this is going to be Star Wars Knights of the Fallen Empire news update video number 4. There was a lot of great information that was released this week. BioWare had a 2-hour live stream, and then in addition to that, they've released a couple of blogs as well. Now, I had to figure out a way to try and condense all of that into a shorter video. So the first thing I'm going to say is I'm not going to mention the blog stuff at all. This video is going to simply concentrate on what was said during the live stream, and then I'm also going to try and condense it down into a shorter format just to make sure that this video doesn't turn into a 2-hour video. Yoda has been refusing to help me. You can see him in the back over there. He's on the couch watching football. He keeps telling Andy Dalton to use the Force. I don't think it's going to work, but whatever. So kicking into the news, I have got about a page and a half worth of notes here, and it's just on a variety of subjects, so I'm going to be jumping all over the board. And you'll notice down in the lower, well, at least on my screen, it's going to be the lower right, I've got a video playing, but I'm going to be putting up some screenshots that I have taken from the live stream that will show you a little bit about what I'm going to talk about. So let's go ahead and kick this off officially. And we're going to start with the whole new character thing. If you haven't heard, when the expansion drops, if you're a subscriber, you're going to get a free level 60, and then you'll be able to buy into at least one other. The first thing that the devs talked about was the server level, or the server character cap. They are going to be increasing that to somewhere between 40 and 50 characters. I believe right now it's either 22 or 23. So it'll be increased to 40 to 50. Your new level 60 character, when they actually jump in the game, their starting gear is going to be item level 188. They are also going to assign you 3 max level crew skills that will be appropriate based on the class that you pick. Moving on to a little bit of companion stuff, and some of this is going to be repeat. You will be able to customize the appearance of your companions. The new companion stats will be based on the influence and the level of your character, or the influence you have with that companion. And as mentioned before, you will now be able to change each companion's role to damage, tank, or healing. So that is going to be pretty cool. Some of you might be aware of the companion gear quest on Yavin. All of that gear is going to be made legacy bound, and you will be able to use it for your other players, and that does not include the weapon. It's just simply the gear itself. Moving on to a new item that's going to be called Legendary Status. If you have finished all 8 class stories, this would be the level 50 content, you will be able to get some cool gold icons and an icon on your character name, as you can kind of see in the screenshots that I have posted here. And I've also posted some of the new companion screens as well. There's 2 different kinds of companions. There is going to be the companions that you are able to customize the gear, and then the companions that you cannot customize the gear. And the example that I showed there is, I threw up Darth Mar. He's got his armor, you can't change it, but then you've got your other ones, like Mako and Galt and the normal ones, and you'll still be able to customize their appearance. Another new little item that they are adding is something called temporary ability bars. And the example they gave on this is Heroic Moment. So you'll be able to set it up. So once you hit Heroic Moment, a new bar will appear that will have all of your Heroic Moment abilities. Once that timer is up, that bar disappears. So you'll be able to do little things like that. So that's definitely cool. Let's talk about crafting changes. This is one of the biggest things that they have yet to talk about up until this point. So, the lowdown is The crafting cap will remain 500. There will be no more tiers, i.e. having to train every 50 or 75. You get everything from the beginning. All of the armor that you craft, and I believe this is more than armor, weapons, sabers, items in general, that you craft will now start out at blues. There will be no more green quality crafting. They are also all going to be adaptive armor. So that's definitely going to be pretty cool. You know, not so much for the weapon end of it, but for armor. Very, very cool indeed. All of the crafting has been changed into a new set of tiers, and they're calling them grades. They're going to go from grade 1 to grade 8. Now, as part of crafting, we have got the gathering changes. No matter what your skill level is, you will be able to gather materials at any tier. So the example that they gave on the live stream was, let's say you are a level 50, you decide to go back to Drum and Costs, and you are mining the low-level stuff. You are going to be getting a much greater amount of those items compared to you being level 10, going to Drum and Costs, and mining the same thing. So low level, low skill, what you're going to be grabbing is less compared to what you have at a higher skill. Was the big change they are making on that. Also, as far as the mission types of gathering, as you might know, for diplomacy as an example, you'd pull up that list, and what you got in there was kind of random. And what they're going to do is they're going to throw out the RNG part of it, and they're going to list everything. So it's like, you'll have a light side, dark side of every single option, and it will be in there every single time. So sometimes, like an example that I had, if I was scavenging, it'd be like, I want to do this one, and I want to do this one, and then there was stuff that I didn't want to do. And so it sounds like that is not going to occur anymore, so you'll be able to pick exactly what you want when you want. So that'll be pretty cool. Next up, we'll talk about some legacy changes. There's now going to be a legacy tab for Datacrons. So the much requested legacy Datacrons will be available, and you can see it on screen there, how it's going to look. So that is going to be pretty cool indeed. They are also changing the speeder piloting under Legacy. You will now be able to unlock that at level 1. So as long as you happen to have one of these special mounts, you will be able to ride on those starting planets. They are also adding the highly, highly requested feature of Summon Random Mount and Summon Random Pet. So those will be added. One other item, and this has nothing to do with Legacy, something that Musco mentioned was when you're on a speeder and you have a cape or a robe, there's that clipping issue of the cape or robe going beneath your mount. That is being fixed on most mounts and capes. Let's go ahead and move on to leveling changes on the core worlds. Now, in the game right now, we've got sometimes they refer to it as the 12 times experience. Sometimes they refer to it as the epic story experience. Both of those, in whatever format you want to call it, are going away for a new system that they are introducing, and this new system is going to be in the game permanently. And how it's going to work, and if you look at the screenshots that I'm putting up on screen here, you're going to be looking at the purple items here. But the new way that they were going to handle leveling is, if you want to, all you have to do are the main planetary story missions and your class missions, and that's all you have to do. So all of those extra ones that are all around the hubs, you don't have to do any of them if you don't want to. They're comparing it and saying that it's fairly close to what's in the game now, except for just having to do that one extra, here's that main planetary storyline. So it's probably going to slow things down just a little bit, but I can definitely understand why they want people to see those planetary storylines. So I'm okay with that. I'm also going to put up on screen here real quick, if you're curious on what the Knights of the Fallen Empire chapter interface is going to look like. Here it is. Very, very fancy. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about in this video is a brand new system that's being put into the game that they're calling the level sync. And a lot of people have been wondering and asking, well, once this expansion goes live, how are things going to work with the old planets? Are we still able to go to them and all this stuff? And the answer is yes, of course you will. In fact, they're actually introducing a whole new thing with the heroic missions. They're doing these weekly heroic missions on all the planets across the board. There's going to be a terminal on the fleet where you can pick those up. They're going to give commendations and money, and it looks like a pretty cool deal overall. And they're even adding in the extreme convenience of, as soon as you pick up the heroics, you're going to get a little thing to where you can automatically transport right to that planet. So that is going to be pretty cool. But the level sync thing is what kind of ties into this, and it's when you visit the old planets, your level is now going to be synced down to the highest level that planet represents. And you can kind of see it from this little thing I put on the screen. You see where it shows your level, and then there's some like little arrows, and I think the one I'm showing shows 18. So this is a player on Drum and Koss, their max level, but they're being down synced to level 18. You will not lose any of your abilities or passives. So you're basically still going to be, you're still going to have all your stuff. It's just your stats are leveled down to that planet, 19 or whatever it happens to be. One question might be as well, is there any way to toggle off this level sync? And the answer they gave was no. They are not going to allow people to toggle off of that. And again, I'm sure that it just simply ties in to some of the new stuff they're doing with the heroic mission weeklies and all that stuff. But one of the cool things about it that they really wanted to do is they know that people have high-level characters and they have friends who start, but there's not really a good way for them to jump back to the level or the lower levels and to actually help them properly. But now with this system, you will be able to do that. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was everything that I wanted to cover in this video. So we covered what's going to happen when you create your new level 60, crew skills, companions, legacy status, crafting changes, gathering changes, legacy changes, leveling changes on the core world, the chapter interface, level sync, and a couple other little things along the way. But everybody just, stay tuned for the rest of the news videos as soon as I can get them out. And for people who are actually watching this on time, this video is going to replace this week's tour report, but the tour report will definitely be back here in the next week or two. But if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Thank you all so much for watching. And with that being said, everybody keep playing and have fun.